Hi, I'm Liz Cully, and welcome back to Cool, Cool, Cool. Each week, I give you a glimpse into what I think is cool and chat with a ton of people that are definitely cool. No topic is off bounds unless, I guess, it's not cool. Welcome to Cool, Cool, Cool. The problem with this podcast is that I want to be friends with every single person that comes on here that I don't know yet, like you.
Yeah.
Or they're the homie. So the problem is as we're getting ready, I'm just talking nothing but shit, you know? Because I talk shit in the best way.
But that's a good warm up for a podcast. You know, you got to warm up by talking shit.
It's true. I also like to confess things the second we start the podcast. So that's what
sorry.
we're
Should I do this real quick? Sorry. Should I do that?
It's
She knows my
almost as if
technique.
she was a star in a famous Netflix series.
This is too much. This is too much.
Okay, well, now I have to confess something.
I'm writing that one credit for life.
Yo, I would though. Michelle, I would ride that fucking tough. I had the honor and pleasure of meeting her during Everything Everywhere, like Oscar circuit.
Yes.
And when I was at Vanity Fair, we had a party for Everything Everywhere, like the whole cast and
course.
crew. It was the sickest party I've ever been to. It very much felt like it was in the Mandarin Oriental private suites. And
that's on the nose.
Yeah,
Mandarin
it
Oriental.
was. I said the same.
Do we not get the joke?
I know, but can I be honest with you? It's such a sick location. And it was like dark and moody and it felt like we were in New York and it was like raining.
I bet it was gorgeous.
And it actually felt like everyone was on coke and like cool. And then Michelle
I
Yeoh,
would never know what that's like.
Michelle Yeoh walks in, who's like the loveliest person I've ever met in Hollywood, actually, maybe. And she's like, hello, and like gives me this hug. And I'm like, you are a national treasure that needs to be protected at all costs.
International treasure.
Oh, international.
Truly.
Sorry, international treasure.
Yeah.
An international treasure that must be protected at all costs, even though she could clearly whoop somebody's ass herself. But
100%.
But I just wanted her to be safe, like a little babe forever, because she was just so beautiful and lovely. Okay, hold on. Let me hard pivot. And I have to confess something to you.
Yeah.
So when I originally booked you on the show, which was about 14 years ago, because that's
Right.
how long it took us to plan this, I thought you were a lesbian.
You know what? I take that as such a huge compliment.
You should take it as a huge compliment. And I can explain why I came
Please
to
tell
that.
me. Please tell me.
Well, one, we have a lot of lesbian friends in common. And Cameron Esposito, I think, actually specifically told me when we were talking to have you on this show. So Cam said it. Then I feel like maybe Rachel Scanlon. Like, listen, I am
I love this.
like it. So that's also a pretty big lesbian. And then maybe even Allie Colbert. Like it just started coming. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously she's gay. You know what I mean?
You know what? Maybe
even,
this is
let's
my
even
chance.
throw in like an Irene too in there. I don't know. And also they've all been on this show. And I just thought, and I was like, huh. And then Channing Nichols, who's a friend of mine, was on your show, Self-Help Me, which we really need to dive into because I think that show's actually all about me, which I'm a little anxious
about. Not that
about.
everything's about you, but
It's
maybe you will
all
be.
about me. Yeah. So anyway, I did. I thought you were a lesbian. And then I'm like, oh,
Wait,
no.
Liz, maybe this is my chance to pre-come out? Pre-come out.
What is pre-cum? I hate what that sounds like to me. I hate it. Honestly, I'm a lesbian because I never want to talk about pre-cum ever again for the rest of my days. God.
No, I truly, Liz, I take that as such an incredible compliment
Okay, good.
because like I hope it wasn't a prerequisite to be gay.
No, it's
to
not.
be on this podcast.
I let that go. Honestly, the last show, you really had to be gay. And then to be honest with you, everyone's gay and there's actually nothing interesting about being gay anymore.
Well, you know, I would argue that I'm somewhere on the Kinsey scale.
Oh, okay.
And I think some of the confusion around whether or not you thought I was gay is the fact that I dress kind of gay if there is a gay way of dressing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
But it's just East Side.
yeah. Is it East Side LA or is it truly gay?
And
We
let
don't
me tell
know.
you, very confusing across all gender spectrums.
Yes.
Is it East LA or are you gay?
I would never say East LA. Let's get the geography correct.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Northeast LA. Let's say Northeast LA.
That's actually soy correct.
Yeah.
And not too Northeast LA, because that's where I live, and that there's Rachel and I are the only gay people that live there. So
Oh.
just kidding. No, there are.
But no, I'm so happy. What a way to start the friendship.
I think so too. But you're from LA.
I'm from LA. Yeah, I'm from LA County, Torrance, which is a huge suburb of LA County.
Isn't that where Toyota and Lex? Isn't that where?
Yes.
Yeah.
Toyota. Well, you know your car geography.
Covered automotive on the advertising side for quite some time.
You did? Oh my God.
I still do.
Oh, you contain multitudes.
I really do. Girl, we gotta hustle out here. These mortgages ain't no fucking joke in California.
That's what I'm talking about. Multiple streams of income.
Have to.
That's where I'm at.
Honestly,
really.
If I didn't have this cancerous scar on my leg that Joseph pointed out,
it's pretty gnarly.
Makes me now unwantable by men. I would start an OnlyFans. And maybe perhaps if I wasn't like the vice president of the Hollywood Reporter, I would also start an OnlyFans.
No, but also like, everyone has a kink. Everyone has their own kink. Maybe their kink is like seeing scars. Truly. Everybody is beautiful.
Everybody is beautiful. I think so. Okay, so you're from Torrance, California, which almost feels like close enough to the city, but not. So as a kid, if you're like dreaming to make it big, it's like it's just right there.
Or it's just far enough. You know what I mean?
Just far enough.
Yeah, I never had any aspirations of Hollywood. Torrance was just a very dense suburban city, but like all my childhood friends, they all stayed there. Most of them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's still that. Even if you're in LA County,
I have that too, because I grew up in San Francisco and then like Marin County, which is right around, and those people stayed.
Marin's gorgeous.
Marin is very gorgeous.
Yeah.
And those people stayed. I have physical nightmares about moving home to Marin and like running into these like perfect girls that I grew up with that are like with their dudes that wear like Patagonia vests with their like tech brand logo. And they have 2 kids that went to the school that we went to. And I'm just like, girl, are you okay?
Did you grow up with horse girls?
Of course I did.
Oh my God, you're fancy.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a horse, but there were definitely horse girls. I also have horsey girl hair. I have like soccer girl hair. I have like a big, you know what I mean? But you went to school for urban planning, which is such an interesting major. And I'm familiar with it. My dad was a structural engineer.
Oh, cool.
I did a little stint of like thinking maybe I was going to do architectural interior design, but then CAD and Reddit came into the situation. And I was like, oh no, girl. I'll actually never forget it. It was the night that Obama first became president. And I was like fucking in this test room in San Francisco City College, shout out. And it's like, I'm on this horrible CAD test. And I just got up and I was like, fuck all this noise. I'm out of here. And I just like switched majors to journalism.
Yeah, stick with words. Words are fun.
Words are cool.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how to read them anymore, but
apparently not.
Apparently not. But why did you choose urban planning?
Because my first calling was to save the world, Liz.
You're still sort of saving the world.
I mean, this is arguable. But yeah, I grew up as an immigrant from Taiwan. I was born in Taiwan, actually, even though I grew up in Torrance. And, all the sort of things.
Which, by the way, I hear Taiwan is off the chain.
It's so fun. Especially if you're gay.
Oh, really?
Please go if you're gay.
I have only gay friends that are not from Taiwan that have been to Taiwan that love it, actually.
It's the most underrated, ranked recently friendliest place for visitors.
Tight.
Yeah.
I'm down.
And they have like one of the biggest like pride months.
Okay.
All the Gaysians go.
All right, tight. I'm down.
No, but I grew up as an immigrant and having a very patriarchal kind of like, I have 2 older brothers, like the world is dominated by men. I can't trust them. Like everything I realized was wrong with the world I grew up with. And then it wasn't until college that I realized the language to describe what was wrong with the world. And that's how I got politicized. And so, yeah, I was supposed to be saving the world, working in politics, grassroots politics. For a long time, I worked for a labor union that represents public employees. I know.
That's
I worked in
tight.
nonprofits. I know so many people who are elected officials that are
Oh my God, do
people
you know what
came up with?
Guess what almost happened this morning before you came here? Because little secret into the next episode, I am having a very famous elected official come here next week.
Gasp.
They wanted to sweep the place. Like her whole detail wanted to come and sweep the place.
Bugs, bombs, everything.
And I was like, yo, I don't have time for this right now. Like, So
you're not famous enough for this.
I mean, kind of, but I was like, no. And I love that. I mean, listen, like to give your life to public service is so intense.
Yeah.
And you make $0 and you have to like really care.
I know.
So it's hard.
It's really hard. And I was going to burn out. There's a theme here. I burn out regularly.
Oh my God, me too.
Every 5 to 6 years.
Wait, you know what's really interesting? I saw your Instagram post about burning out and about like napping and sleeping.
Yes.
I really have struggled. And actually, most recently, and luckily I actually took a vacation for the first time in years. But the burnout thing for me is really fucking bad and really intense, actually, like to the point where it's paralyzing.
Yes.
And so I saw that and I was like, damn, that's my new friend. Shit.
Stress kills. I'm trying to gather all the, okay, so I burnt out this summer. I'm recovering from it where I'm
that's what happens when you're a famous Netflix television star.
Well, I'm trying to refine my purpose, right? Okay, what's my voice? Because I kind of fell off from like doing as much stand-up and as much like video content creating during the pandemic. And so 4 years later, 2 miscarriages, finding the love of my life, buying a house, 8 failed IVF cycles later, my dad dying too. I'm finally getting it together.
My God, are we like the same person?
Really? Did you?
Babe, I just did IVF and we did a whole special series of Cool all about IVF.
Is that right?
All about trying to have a kid. I could like cry right now.
I saw the videos about talking about like sperm and all that. I didn't realize that was a series.
Oh yeah. We did the whole kit and caboodle.
Well, I'm telling you, I did all of that. Dad died, fertility
8
stuff.
rounds of IVF. Listen, you are a true fucking warrior.
6 out of 8 rounds without going under for the egg extraction. I felt every poke.
Why did you do that?
Because
you wanted to?
Because I'm insane. Because no, I didn't want to.
Because I went on that like Michael Jackson drug when they put me under, and I was like, I couldn't believe what it was. I was so nervous, but I walked in and it was all female doctors. And I was like, this is like an episode of Green the Leg. And I just like went out and it was crazy. And then I woke up and I was like, I feel amazing. And they're like, you're on fentanyl. I'm like, what? I was like, no. It was crazy.
I wish I had. No, the reason I did that was because during those 4 years, I was working nonstop. Which brag, great, right? I had like a TV, I had a TV writing job, a number of them. And then I also was acting in the Netflix show, The Brother's Son. And so unfortunately with our egg cycles, you don't know sometimes until 2 days before that, it's time to trigger. And then you're going to like have your eggs extracted. And so with the way the timing was, during the pandemic, I just couldn't go down to the office where there was an anesthesiologist. And they had one that was closer that I was like, okay, I guess I'll have to go there because you invest a whole month, right? Of shots and office visits.
And no drinking.
Yeah. And everything, you know? And so when it's time, you can't.
It's like your whole fucking life.
I can't stop a production with Michelle Yeoh. Because I'm like, sorry, I have to go get an anesthesiologist to make sure I don't feel pain. Like, I didn't do that.
Jenny, fuck. My anesthesiologist was a total badass and like came in with a briefcase.
Yeah. With all the drugs, just like, what do you want?
Yeah, for real. And I was like, okay, girl, like let's.
I wish.
I'm so like.
I know, don't make me cry.
I could cry right now. Also, I'm like PMSing and I'm like, oh God.
I'm ovulating today. Literally today. I feel it. It's happening.
Am I ovulating today? Are we on the same cycle?
I feel like cool. Every person should declare where they are. Are they luteal? Where they are, you know?
Yeah. And guess what I learned actually doing IVF is that I know absolutely nothing about anything.
Our bodies, right?
I know.
No, I do. Finally, I like got so into learning about fertility after all the burnout this year. Like truly, like actually, you know, people go on like Reddit threads and like go like join Facebook groups. I didn't do all of that because I was so busy during the like 2020 to 2023 era of like dad dying and like life, right? That like I just was in Burnout, there's a really great book, Burnout by Emily Nagoski, that describes everything about burnout. Highly recommend the audiobook on 1.25 speed.
I was like, I don't have time to read a book.
Yeah, audiobook.
Okay.
What happens is you fight or flight or you freeze. You know?
Well, that's like how I've spent my entire life.
Yeah. And so what you do is you functional freeze. You just do whatever you can to like get by, but you're not really living. And then so that accumulates though. It's like, you know, when you have a sleep debt, you have a stress debt. And so it'll catch up with you. And girl, it caught up with me this summer.
Well, no. And I get it. Like, and it's difficult to explain to people who haven't done any IVF where I was like, yo, I was like not well.
The hormones? 8 times.
I don't know how you...
4 years.
Yeah, because you're a fucking...
And 2 miscarriages.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So like to feel
after
like you're...
implantation?
Yeah. Yeah. For the first one. And then the second one was a chemical one. So it didn't implant. I know. Listen. Cool.
No, they know. These listeners are these motherfuckers.
Know.
Especially if they subscribe to the Patreon, they know.
Yeah.
No, I did a whole solo episode where I was like, what the fuck? And then the crazy part is with insurance is that they only cover, by the way, $2,000 of one round.
Oh, that's nothing.
Which, by the way, is a nylon Prada bag. It's not even a leather one.
Wait, was like, Liz, you know you should go to Taiwan to do fertility, right?
I know, I've heard it.
You just have to
go
pay
anywhere.
cash.
Is that what you did?
Oh, no, you did. I did. I went in April, and I tried it for the first time with this amazing doctor that does Eastern and Western medicine,
which is tight. Because I've been doing acupuncture. I mean, I'm acupuncture all the way, but
so me starting to talk on podcasts now because I had stopped talking because literally I just couldn't deal in those 3 years. All the hormones, the grief. Still working every day. I just couldn't deal. I stopped doing stand-up. I stopped really like putting my voice out there. I have so many stories to tell. So at some point, you know, I am going to start my own podcast.
You have to.
/ podcasts. Self-Help Me, the show that I did for 2 years every month live. I'm going to convert that into a podcast because
you should.
My lifeline has been wellness and self-care. Otherwise, I would not be here, you know, reading books like Burnout, talking to my friends about it. But anyway, the point is that whole time I managed to just do all these rounds of IVF because I was just going through the motion. When you're just like,
please tell me
surviving,
we're on the Netflix healthcare.
I'm on WGA healthcare.
Yeah, y'all have
so even better than SAG. Yeah,
y'all have that good healthcare.
I pay for all of my fertility though, because that's how that works.
No, I know, and people don't understand. There's also a misconception, really, I just financially, really, real quick.
No, let's talk about all of it.
I did not have this like planned at all, but I'm so happy because here we are.
Yeah.
I appreciate that Governor Newsom is like, we have to pay for IVF. I think people have a really bad misconception, especially folks who haven't gone through any fertility issues, that when people say, oh, insurance covers it, or they do not.
No.
And in fact, so my doctor wanted me to do another round, but insurance called me, denied all the claims. Oh, and by the way, guess insurance denies anesthesia.
Yeah.
They don't pay for storage. They don't pay for half the fucking medications that you actually need. And if you don't get those medications, then it actually doesn't work. So it's all a bunch of bullshittery. But what Gavin Newsom is talking about doesn't really cover it. It's like just allowing for you to make the claim. So those are important things to note.
I know.
Unfortunately, people just don't read and they don't educate themselves on those things. We absolutely should, in my opinion, vote for those things. It's a great, wonderful thing. I just think IVF, obviously with that person who I can't even speak his name, is weaponizing this against pretty much everyone. And so there's a lot of misinformation out there and it costs a bunch of gazillions of dollars. And so my doctor wanted me to do another round because she's like, listen, you only got 2. Yeah. Like, I think you should do more. But they call that, and I quote from the insurance, embryo banking. Well, no shit, dum-dum. Of course that's what I'm fucking doing.
Why is that a bad word? Embryo banking.
That's what they said. They're like, you're embryo banking and we don't allow for that.
You have to save your embryos until you're ready to implant them.
Right, Jenny, because that's common sense.
Because you don't immediately implant them after you get them out.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, nothing.
Do you know
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying?
No, nothing makes sense.
We're in the upside down over here.
It's so inhumane. I'll probably talk more about this, but just for context, since we're on this conversation, I went to a very cheap IVF provider, like reputable but cheap. For 7 rounds, I spent about $60,000.
That's
cheap.
super cheap.
That's super cheap. I know.
No, and I've talked about it too. I spent $27,000 on 1 round.
Yeah, that's the average. Yeah,
that's typical. Anyway, so now I want to go play in fucking traffic. But
no, go to Taiwan and go to my provider.
Well, what I need to do is, how's the plastic surgery in Taiwan though?
Also excellent.
Yeah, because that's
also
the next
inexpensive.
Yeah. My brother was deployed during the pandemic to Korea, and when he got his orders, it was before the pandemic had happened. So I was fucking ready to go. I was like, gonna get a new face, gonna get a new body, gonna eat amazing food. Can't fucking wait.
Excuse me.
I've been waiting for this my whole life.
You're making me cough. I'm
sorry.
laughing.
I wanted to go to Seoul so bad. I'm like, yo,
they got everything.
This is going to be fucking lit. The Koreans are insane. They are so much fun. Yeah, they go hard.
On everything.
Yeah. And then unfortunately, he was locked down on a base for 18 months.
Oh.
He did end up scoring a nose job somehow. I did not, which was very annoying to me.
I like how excited you are to do plastic surgery travel.
Big time. Well, you do have this live show, Self Help Me, which I love. You do topics like white girls, boundaries. I was like,
So wait, are you saying every topic we've done, it's all like you relate to it?
Yes.
Yeah, because basically every topic is a wellness trend. And so white girls is a wellness trend, 100%.
But they're so triggering. I know that I am, by all accounts, a white girl, but white girls are so triggering to me.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with white women.
Because you grew up with them.
Because I grew up with them, and 7 out of 10, they did me dirty.
Yeah.
So I'm talking more specifically like straight cis white women have done me dirt. Hey, but yes, all of your subjects, or really, I do resonate with. But I do laugh because this morning I went at 6:30 in the morning down to Boyle Heights to get my blood drawn because I'm seeing a biohacking doctor in Montecito. Who?
What?
This is like your next.
What? To do what?
Babe, I'm on like progesterone. I'm on like a new thyroid because I'm trying to fucking get better after IVF.
You know what? Yes.
So I'm on all this shit. I'm on like a micro dose of tirzepatide because now they're using that for inflammation and hormone combativeness. I know. And I'm on T3. We are no gatekeepers on cool.
You know what? This is one of the things I realized when I went to this Eastern and Western medicine doctor in Taiwan is they had, in conjunction with the regular stuff, a Chinese medicine guy who checked my pulse and my vibes, and every other day adjusted the powders that I would ingest,
that you were having.
Right, the herbal medicine. And I remember after the egg retrieval, him being like, so we're going to just adjust your medicine because we want to flush now all of the extra hormones that we put into you in order to do the egg retrieval. And when he said that, I teared up. I cried because I felt so cared for finally.
Yep.
And also for someone to even acknowledge that what we did to ourselves for this cycle was so intrusive and so low-key unnatural that we needed to almost detoxify ourselves.
Big time.
Of it, because there are lingering effects and it messes with your regular personality and moods and everything. And I cried. I literally teared up and I'm like, there's a thing for that. You know what I mean? And so that's what we did. We used this Chinese medicine. So, I'm sure this biohacker that you researched is great, but
she's a functional medicine doctor. That's
so
also East-West. I mean,
hopefully they recommend some herbal medicine for you.
Half of it all is.
Oh, good.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, that's why full blood panels, but it's not it's looking at cortisol level. It's everything.
Yes.
And most people don't do that. I will say the IVF doctor that I did go to really, because I went to one first and I wasn't feeling him.
Yeah.
You know
got
how
a
it goes.
vibe. You got to feel safe.
And she was wonderful and I love her. And she really did way more extensive blood testing and was like, listen, I'm not technically allowed to tell you or whatever that acupuncture is good, but I'm telling you that I'm like, girl, my acupuncturist is like low key my life partner. So don't worry about it. I'm also from the Bay, born and raised. Like, if you don't think that I've been on this fucking acupuncture tip my whole life and taking herbs, you're crazy. But I am now, instead of like, it's just so interesting. But that's the new for me. The new for me is like this functional medicine, like biohacking hormone situation, because I was like, I can't even think about implanting these fucking embryos until I like, my tits looked like, after I did IVF, like condoms filled with water.
Oh, they look sad.
And one was this way, one was that way. I was like, what the
I didn't realize that was a thing.
Okay, well, it wasn't. It's over now. We're back to normal.
Oh, okay, good. Just perky as
But don't worry, Joseph. I'm married, so now that I have a cancer scar and a fucking boobs that look like water balloons, I could throw one over my shoulder. But it was very intense. But I do love this idea that you bring together these different comedians and personalities to talk about wellness and really look at all angles of it.
Yeah, Self-Help Me is a comedic take on making fun of wellness, but also talking about it seriously.
Yeah, which I like a lot, that there's both, because it is both.
And the way we set it up on the live show was that it's a competitive self-care comedy show. Yep. Self-care already felt competitive, so we made a way to win. And so we just played like low stakes trivia about the topic. Comedians would like answer them and I would give them points. But obviously if they like were vulnerable and like self-carey with me, then I'll like give them more points. It's very fun. And then there's always an expert. So yeah, people would leave being like, our first show was about burnout. And two separate friends sent me screenshots of their friends that they had invited and said, this is what they sent us. And it would be like, thank you for inviting me. The show was so funny. Went to my car, immediately started crying. Not that that's the effect I want my comedy to have, but it's not. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Especially when we're talking about wellness. So
have you had a favorite? I mean, it's hard to pick favorites of your pseudo babies, but did you have a favorite show or topic from that you've done so far? I know you're going to continue it, but have you loved one topic that really just hit?
There's three. I'll say three. I do have I have 20 shows recorded. And so I'm probably going to make it like pay-per-view up online at some point.
Please do.
Yeah, because I put so much love into every one of them. But I would say three: the astrology one, the generational trauma one, and the fertility one.
Yeah.
So the astrology one, I had to do it because I believe in the wisdom of them, but I believe that like a lot of religions, astrology gets abused by normal people. And they just like use it to like basically hate on other people. And also I'm a Scorpio. So I grew up having so many people look at me funny simply because I'm a Scorpio. I'm like, why?
I get along with Scorpio. They're like my kryptonite. What's your birthday? What day?
It's November 7th. Are you going to freak out right now?
Oh my fucking God.
Liz, are you okay?
Oh my God. You guys. I don't think I'm well.
Why? What's wrong?
My mother is November 7th.
What?
My best friend from growing up is November 7th.
What?
My favorite coworker that we were coworkers, but now we're best friends, November 7th.
Do you want to put me in your pocket and take me home?
Well, yeah, you like live down the street, so I'm going to see you all the time anyway.
That's crazy.
Fucking dead.
I've never met that many people who are November 7th.
Isn't that? Did I just say I'm kryptonite for Scorpios and November 7th? And I have this like weird fucked up. I have a really weird premonition that if I do end up being able to have a child, I think it's going to be a Scorpio.
What? Okay. So see, feelings like that are fine. And the fact that you see a pattern in your life, that's fine and factual. I just don't think most people use it kindly.
What's your rising and what's your
I forgot.
You didn't have Chani Nichols?
Chani did do it. It's in the show. I don't remember. I know every lesbian asked me these three things immediately, and I just don't know the answer.
Which would be a telltale sign you are not a lesbian.
Very not gay. Yeah.
If you can't answer your sun and
Rising. I know.
and your moon.
I know.
You ain't gay.
Your
honey.
top 3. I get it. Or big 3, I guess. So Channy did a reading for me, and the whole theme was, why are Scorpios the worst? I always try to answer a question about the topic. And she was amazing. Channy Nicholas was amazing. And she did a reading of me and explained
why are they the worst? Oh yeah, I did see a clip.
We're just intense. We're just intense. And it's really, we're just powerful, and that can always be seen in a negative light. And
you know what though? I'll say this. You know what I like about Scorpios is y'all are motherfucking ride or dies. If some shit pops off, that's why I'm like that too. Like I'll be like, all right, let's go. Like I'll meet you there. Like I'm a Cancer. So I'm like a little crybaby.
Yeah. No, I'm a crybaby too though. Oh, so that's the first one. So, okay, here we go. I'm going through the list. Astrology, we did that. Why are Scorpios the worst? The second one was all about generational trauma. And I managed to book all 4 of the Joy Luck Club women. If you watch Joy Luck Club, the movie, it's
I am born and raised in San Francisco.
Yeah, so you know about it.
Excuse me.
The World of Amy Tan. And last minute, Rosalind Chow had to drop out, but we had 3 of the 4
That's
Joy
crazy.
Luck Club.
Did you die? I would die.
I died. Like if you watch, it's one of it's like a peak. It's like a peak comedy moment. It's like a peak life moment for me.
Yeah,
that I had them on stage to talk about generational trauma. Ming Na Wen flirted with me. Gag me, please. Like literally choke me out, because it was. If anyone would make me gay, it would be Ming Na Wen. And then finally, my other favorite, which was low-key traumatizing, was the fertility one, which was the last one I did. After 2 years, August of 2024, I decided, because I was dealing with burnout, I was like, stop everything. No more. I've done every month of this, 20 episodes. I need to stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the last one, it was like so much crying. It was like gnarly. We were sharing like intense, freaking like gnarly miscarriage stories, like not safe for work, not safe for most people's consumptions. It was with Sabrina Jalise. It was just like amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
Woof. That would be hard. I hear ya. I mean, but sometimes I think what I have learned through this, and even having you, I didn't realize that you had gone through that. It's like, the more we talk about it, the more I find that so many people have gone through it. Was more interesting for me is a lot of older women who are in their like 70s, like friends of my mom being like, girl, we went through X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Really interesting stories that they wouldn't share, because that generation is quite tight-lipped, and you know what I mean? And like wouldn't really say anything. And that's been good. And sometimes you got to laugh through the pain, you know?
Our bodies are literal and political battleground. For sure. And every woman has a war story.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I realized once I got pregnant. You know, I was like, what is happening to my body? Why did we not talk about this? For 3 months, I thought I was pregnant, and I was. My body had symptoms, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, it was wild. It's like the fact that like after your IVF, your tits changed. Like, hello.
Like big time change.
Why are we not talking about this?
Well, I'm really fucking doing the Lord's work by admitting on a recorded podcast that my tits look like condoms filled with water. Like, because that's a real cute picture, but it was terrible. They literally look like those balloons that those like creepy mimes make. It was terrible, you know?
But you know what? Everybody is beautiful.
Oh, brother. Yeah. Speaking of brothers, Netflix, you're so famous. Is that dead?
Famous. I'm like niche known. I would never say famous. I'm niche known.
What was the craziest part about being involved in such a hit net? Because I feel like when shows hit that hard, it's kind of like a whirlwind that you can't describe.
We did not get renewed for a second season.
I did see that.
Yeah, so The Brother's Son.
Why?
Season 1 happened. 10 episodes.
I loved it.
Or was it 8?
I think it was 8.
Yeah, 8 episodes.
And you wrote on it too.
I wrote on season 2 of it.
Oh.
And I turned in my script, and then we got notified that Netflix wasn't going to renew us. I know. It's a bummer. But people loved it. Those who watched it.
But it crushed though.
Like it trended worldwide. Yeah.
No, like for real.
But
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it because it was so LA.
It is, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like, just different and funny as shit. anyway, I like binged it. I was one of those like crazy people where I was like, we gotta keep going. We gotta keep going. What time is it?
You saw my fight scenes.
Well, I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah.
What was the preparation like to be in a fight scene? I would just want to do them to get yoked.
I did get paid to work out, which is incredible.
That's tight.
The stunt team, world class, at the cutting edge of where stunts have been going. Like, I got trained by the people who trained Creed and John Wick, like straight up.
Tight.
Yeah. Right before the pandemic, I had sat there like, I need to come up with my new vision of my life and my goals. And one of them was, I think I want to do action comedy. So I was training for a half marathon. I had bought 10 1-hour private lessons with a professional Muay Thai kickboxer.
I did see some videos of you doing some Muay Thai.
Yeah, incredible.
Or boxing, rather.
So fun. And then the pandemic happened. And then got pregnant, fell in love, miscarriage, dad died, all of that. 20 pounds later, not as much doing the fitness stuff. And then I get this audition to do it in Chinese and English. It's about a Taiwanese family. I'm Taiwanese. I get the fucking role.
Which is so tight.
And they're like, you're going to do stunts. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then spoiler, fast forward 10 seconds if you don't want a spoiler for the brother son, you get to fight Michelle Yeoh.
It was so...
in her only fight of the season. And I was like, what? I mean, I couldn't say no. So I was like, this is what I've wanted. I'm doing it. And it was so fun. I'm like, I was the nerd. I was one of the nerds of the actors who was like befriending the stunt team and like hanging out with them. And then sometimes like working out at their, workout area off when I wasn't paid and just to go. And they're so cool.
But like, it must have been so rad to see. And I know you make a really funny video where you go and try to look at the big outdoor poster on the Netflix building and it's gone. But what was it like being in LA, being from LA? I'm just going to say you're from LA.
Yeah.
Torrance. It's LA adjacent. Just like having this hit show. It must have been so tight.
Yeah. I mean, you're excited now.
I'm so excited. But I like love being excited for people.
Yeah, no, thank you.
You're welcome.
It was amazing. It was amazing. But what was funny though was during the premiere week, which was early January of this year, I had an outline due for my script for season 2. So I was like stressed, but also like, oh, I'm here to enjoy this.
What happens though for the listeners at home when you write a season 2, it doesn't get picked up? Does the production team then try and sell it somewhere else, or is there like an embargo because of Netflix?
It depends on the contract. It depends on the deal. I don't know the terms of the deal. Some people are able to walk away with the IP to try to sell it elsewhere and platform it elsewhere. Some people just don't feel like they can do it, or maybe they've creatively moved on. Who knows?
Yeah.
People always ask it. They're like, "Oh, Netflix didn't renew. Can't you try to like do season 2 somewhere else?" And I'm like, well, very unlikely. The most unlikely.
It's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, but you see what gets renewed.
But I think it sucks because I think people don't get it. Like they're like, well, what do you mean you wrote the show? You know what I mean? It's like, how does that work? But I guess that's still a great experience to write the second season.
No, I learned so much.
And you learned so much. And you've definitely written on other shows previous to that.
Yeah.
What other shows have you written on?
I wrote on HBO Max's Gordita Chronicles, which is a
so cute
family sitcom about a Dominican family in the 80s. I wrote on 2 seasons of Last Man Standing, which is a Tim Allen vehicle.
Which is wild.
Not my necessarily like comedy, but I learned a lot about comedy and multicam writing through that because I was sitting in a writer's room just watching veteran comedians and comedy writers work. Just like, oh my God, they're so incredible. Over half of them were EPs, sort of executive producer levels. They started writing on Roseanne. They're the writers who over the last decades touched every single sitcom or funny comedy movie that you've ever seen. Like one day, like the Teaver Boss, for example, they're like a couple. They're so iconic. They were just talking about how, oh yeah, they did Punch Up for Romy and Michelle. They did Punch Up for 10 Things I Hate About You. Like what? Like
that's
comedy history in the room.
That's tight.
So even though Tim Allen isn't my specific cup of tea, to be on a sitcom, which is just a format that we're all familiar with, that we grew up loving,
Well,
I loved
multicam,
it.
yeah, and writing multicam is so
It's specific.
hard and it's so specific.
Yeah.
And
I learned a lot. And so, yeah. And then I consulted on a really fun Netflix animated show called City of Ghosts. It's like for kids.
cute.
I don't know. What else have I done? That's some of it.
That's a lot. What are you wanting to act more? Or are you wanting to write more? Both? Everything?
I want to do all of it.
I mean, now that you're not burnt out anymore, now that you're like back to
Not yet.
snap.
I'm ramping up. I'm doing more stand up and I'm doing more content creating videos and podcasts. You know this. We can't trust Hollywood.
Girl.
We can't trust these Hollywood gatekeepers.
I mean, let me tell you something. Yeah, of course not. You asked me when we were off camera, like, oh, you were an actor. Did you act? Yeah, fuck yeah, I did. And I was like trained by whoever and did it since I was a kid. And then I came down to LA and I was like, if one more of you motherfuckers tells me I need to lose weight, I'm going to actually lose my mind. And I just needed to like pay for my rent. You know what I mean? So I just couldn't keep spending all this money. Remember those awful where you'd have to like go and audition for the casting directors like on the weekends, the workshops? Do you remember those?
Oh no, I've never done.
See, you got lucky. If you talk to like actors from like early aughts, middle aughts, it's like we spent thousands of dollars just to audition, which is like such a racket. I don't think they're allowed anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I started doing my own thing.
You have to. And that's how I had gotten attention from Hollywood anyway, which is producing my own stuff. So from 2018 until this year, I've been working nonstop in Hollywood jobs, which is such a blessing.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate part of that, which is why I got into this game, is I didn't feel like I was able to nurture my own voice. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then the burnout and then the everything. So this year I was like, who am I? Let me get back to what I can control. Sure, I'm going to audition. Sure, I'm going to do acting roles. Would love to be in a writer's room, but I'm developing my own stuff. Trying to sell more TV shows, Liz. Okay? Because I've sold TV shows. They didn't go, but I sold them.
We have talked about this so many times on this show. Everybody knows. That's why when people are like, oh, I was so silly. I moved to LA because I got a crazy audition for John Wells' show back then. And I was like, bye, losers. I'm like hitting the road. Like, I didn't realize how it goes. Like you can even shoot a full pilot and it just doesn't get picked up. And I don't think people realize that. I'm out here doing the Lord's work, trying to tell everybody how it rips around here. And now we're in this lovely situation where nobody just fucking worked for a year. And so there's nothing really out there.
Yeah.
And people are very scared to buy things. So it's a very tough time. That's why I think it's so important that folks, pay for people's Patreons, pay people for their content.
Support us.
Support people.
The streets of Hollywood are littered with heartbreak. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Did I just...
But I think it's also, I think, a time on a positive note. I think people are really creating communities within Hollywood, like, and finding their people more than ever. I mean, not to be like so cheesy, but I was in a pretty big executive meeting yesterday with some big network folks. And I was like, listen, and we're doing an event together, which actually I'm going to invite you to.
Great.
Can't wait to tell you off camera. And I was like, I actually think this entire event should be about lifting people up in community and like putting people on. And they're like, what? And I was like, just trust me. Like the reality of it is like, even in the weird little podcasting world, it's the nicest group of people that I've ever met. Like people love to pod swap. People love to like help each other out.
Yes.
Like it's a really wonderful thing. And the listenership has been so awesome because they get it.
Yeah.
They can like feel that we're all trying to help each other and put each other on because we can't trust nobody.
You can't trust these Hollywood gatekeepers, Liz.
Listen, these hoes are not loyal.
They're not.
They're just not loyal.
Yeah. And the industry is hurting. So many people are not the famous ones who can just survive without regular jobs.
No, it's true.
And so, listen, I'm eating at my savings. Luckily I've started to do like hosting and stand-up comedy and for events and fundraisers again. I used to do that more before the pandemic. And so that's another way for me to make money. But, that's why hopefully soon come my podcast.
Yeah, everybody
self-help me.
Like, subscribe 5 stars.
Yeah. But, so it's, I'm just in my live, laugh, love era, both.
Your live, laugh, love era.
Live, laugh, love era.
Well, the good thing for you is there's a fucking Home Goods in every zip code in Los Angeles. So you can find that placard and put it up on your wall. Jenny, I just love you. I'm so happy you came. This was worth every moment of waiting for you.
Okay, it's official. We are very much in the final sprint to Election Day. And face it, between debates, polling releases, even court appearances, it can feel exhausting, even impossible to keep up with. I'm Brad Milkey. I'm the host of Start Here, the daily podcast from ABC News. And every morning, my team and I get you caught up on the day's news in a quick, straightforward way that's easy to understand, with just enough context so you can listen, get it, and go on with your day. So, kickstart your morning. Start smart with Start Here and ABC News, because staying informed shouldn't feel overwhelming.